leading to some mist and fog and some murkiness, and even where we don't get that lowering cloud, clear spells could allow for a touch of frost and also some patches of fog to develop in other spots as well. So a bit of a grey, murky start across central and eastern parts of southern UK, a bit brighter perhaps across parts of Wales and the southwest of England. Lots of cloud, few outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland and northern England, and similar across southern and eastern parts of Scotland. It's across northern Scotland where we're likely to have the clearest skies overnight and the brightest skies to start, but as a result, the greatest chance of some frost and some fog, maybe even freezing fog patches here as well. Through the day, there will be further outbreaks of rain around, perhaps a bit heavy at times in a few spots, all of that making its way northwards. Could see some sleet and snow over the high ground of Scotland, but that's going to become less of a thing as we go through the day. And then otherwise, well, some dry weather, even some bright sunny skies here and there, but worth noting if you're stuck under the cloud, which could linger all day, it's going to feel pretty cold indeed. Through into Sunday, and there's a chance of a swathe of wet weather pushing its way northwards across much of England, Wales and later into eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, it could be quite a grey, cloudy, murky start yet again, with a lot of fog in places too. Into next week, and there's more changeable weather to come. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News every week.
You're not only watching and listening to our programmes, you're becoming part of them too.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M8 eastbound, there is a partial blockage at junction 15 Townhead after a road traffic incident. On the M4 westbound, expect slow-moving queues between junction 24, Coldra, and junction 26, Malpas, due to congestion. In West Berkshire, the A34 southbound is heavily congested between the A4185 and the junction with the M4, with delays of around 40 minutes. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway and Thameslink have major disruption between Bedford and London St Pancras International, with additional Thameslink disruption from London Bridge to London St Pancras International. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
There's just 3 weeks left to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to make 2026 the year of yes. That's yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to making all of those dreams come true this year. Just make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. Tonight on the show we've got broadcaster Mike Parry. He's going head-to-head with our left in the corner, Fahima Mohammed. We've got business travel expert Clive Ratton and YouTube influencer Based and Bougie. But first, let's go to the news.
Good evening. The top stories. West Midlands Police Chief Constable Craig Guildford has announced his retirement after pressure over a decision to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from a match with Aston Villa last year. Downing Street said yesterday it no longer had confidence in Mr Guildford after a report into the decision to ban the fans. The Home Secretary has said by stepping down, Craig Guildford has done the right thing today. The IOPC says it will continue to look into the actions of West Midlands Police and the decision to ban the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Birmingham following Craig Guildford's retirement as Chief Constable. Robert Jenrick says his defection is part of uniting the right. The former Shadow Justice Secretary told GB News he discussed his defection with his family at Christmas. He yesterday announced his joining Reform hours after he was sacked by the Tory leader Kemi Badenoch over what she called clear, irrefutable evidence that he was conspiring to jump ship. Speaking at a press conference alongside Nigel Farage, Mr Jenrick called his former party rotten, dishonest and no longer fit for purpose. Nick Timothy, the new Shadow Justice Secretary, said he did not recognise the Tory party that Mr Jenrick had described. Meanwhile, Kemi Badenoch has said she cannot do a deal with liars when asked about a possible pact with Reform UK in the wake of Jenrick's defection. And an NHS trust indirectly discriminated against nurses by allowing a trans woman to use a female changing room, a tribunal ruled today. A group of nurses won a partial victory against County Durham and Darlington NHS Trust. The NHS Trust was found to have violated the dignity of the nurses and harassed them by requiring them to share a changing room with a biological male trans woman and not taking seriously their concerns. However, it dismissed several other claims, finding that Rose Henderson, who's a biological male, had not harassed or victimised the claimants. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more news from me in an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. I'm Lee Anderson, Reform UK Member of Parliament for Ashfield. And our left in the corner tonight is political commentator Fahima Mohammed. I think it's the second or third time on the show, Fahima. And he's back, Mike Porky Parry.
Yeah.
PMQs this week again in Parliament. Sir Keir Starmer up ranting at the dispatch box.
Yeah.
He mentioned Reform UK countless times. Have a look at this clip, guys.
Reform, 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 reform. The member of Clacton. Reform, 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 reform.
So, Fahima, you saw him there again in action, Sir Keir Starmer. I think that Reform UK are living rent-free in his head. What do you think?
I think Reform's living rent-free in the media frenzy. And I think that actually, at the end of the day, it is quite normal to politically challenge and criticise other parties. It's no different. And you guys are actually a challenge for Starmer at the moment.
But we're not in power, Fahima.
It doesn't matter. But, you know, I think, like I said, it's the media frenzy right now that is actually happening. That's why there's so many U-turns that has never happened before, because politics has never been like
So why do you
before.
think there are so many U-turns, Fahima?
Because I think actually you can flip it and think that they actually are listening to the public. When they are putting forward something, they're not being liked, they're being scrutinised, and they're actually thinking, oh, OK, let's just maybe not do this. In a way, that's not authoritarian. That's actually something has been, you know, alleged. I think they actually are listening to the public, and they're making mistakes, and they're
Let's
flipping
bring
it.
Mike in. So, Mike, are they listening to the public, or is Keir Starmer listening to his backbenchers who are frightened of losing the seats the next time?
Well, he's listening to everybody. That's Keir Starmer's problem. He's not a leader of men. I thought his performance in Prime Minister's Questions was pathetic.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about that ridiculous and rather tawdry joke he told about the Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
Oh, more positions of the Kama Sutra. That's a 25-year-old rather smutty joke which comics used to use on late-night night shows. He is actually so little in control of his party that the last person who said something to him, he immediately responds and does it. Now, the idea that, oh, well, Labour must be listening to the public because, you know, they turn back on so many things. How can any government go forward if it's going forward, backwards, 13 consecutive times? They haven't got a policy or a plan in its head. And he's obsessed by reform because he should be standing up in Parliament and telling the country what he's going to do as Prime Minister, what his vision is, what he hopes to achieve, instead of which he just tries to attack all his enemies, reform, of course, being the most significant one.
No, well, don't sit on the fence there, Mike. Fahima, do you want to come back on this one?
Look, right now, I'm not actually voting Labour, but I can see that...
Is that an exclusive for GB News?
Yes, I have changed...
Lost faith.
You're not going to the Green Party, surely? Because I've got some medication in my bag if you want some.
Well, you know what? You guys cannot criticise and scrutinise any party right now because they might be your next member, OK? You have 14 years of Conservatives now in your party. So at the end of the day, the reason why everyone's talking about this is because reform is now reform.
You've not denied the Green defection then?
Well, you've also got a Green Party member that has defected to your party as well.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not denying that. I am actually leaning towards Zelensky, absolutely.
This is a guy who can hypnotise people and
enhance their
We've all got
Yes.
stories.
Yes.
We've all got stories.
Has he hypnotised you recently, Mike?
No, he hasn't. I met him recently at a TV show. He's a very engaging young man, full of really wacko ideas. But the way he comes over like a sort of stand-up comedian, you know, when he's giving him your points of view. But, I mean, to think that he might one day have some partial control in this country means even more people have got to look towards what does the right offer in opposition to the coalition that could be on the left. It's frightening.
And of course, Fahima, I think it's due to Starmer's weakness and pathetic performances in the Commons and his policies that a lot of people are leaning towards the Green Party.
Yes, that is true. But I do feel that he has been slightly shaken by the public and reform. And I think, like I said before, politics has never been like before, where everyone is speaking loudly and they are being heard. And I think that it never used to be like this, where the actual reactions were actually being met by people on top in government. And I think we have changed over time. And the new era, the new generation are speaking louder, are shouting louder, and they do want to see a difference. And I think even many people are even scrutinising reform right now because they're not performing the way that is
speaking and shouting louder because the government are so awful. There's never been a Prime Minister who's been so unpopular. There's never been a Labour Party that's been so unproductive. But no, the reason people are shouting is because they are terrified of what this country's going to end up as. Only this week, we've had an estimate that Mad Ed Miliband, I think...
And Mad Ed's not here to defend himself. He would say he's not mad, but carry on, Mike.
Excuse me, I think his net zero policies are mad, so I'll qualify it as that. I'm not accusing the man of being mad, right? But it's estimated they could cost the country in the long term £4.5 trillion. I mean, this is bankruptcy time. We'd be nothing. We'd be nothing at all if we suddenly start to decide, let's buy all our oil from Norway, who are drilling it in the North Sea, where we could drill it, but we don't. So let the Norwegians drill it, and we'll buy it off them at twice the price. I mean, crazy.
Is it madness? Is it madness?
Well, unfortunately, I think in the UK, in England, it has been disappointing where a lot of Western countries do rely outside its own. And that's what the fault is. That's why when we have, external wars, external factors, it does impact us straight after COVID with Ukraine and Russia as well, and continuously with, Israel and Gaza, and then obviously now with the rest of the world that's happening. So I do feel that, it's not just internal, it's not just, we need to start investing in our own. We need to start building, and we need to start having more reliance on our own. I'm not obviously for Brexit, but that's supposed to be something where we could have actually, benefited from. But if anything, the economy has turned completely, not completely for that, but many businesses and many high sort of business owners do claim that that is one of those kind of consequences.
Yeah, but the rest of Europe is struggling Fahima.
Some more than
and
us.
they're still in the EU.
Yeah,
but even still, the UK and the EU would have been a lot better for us, even for employment. I mean, we are going to go on to the next subject with the NHS, but at the end of the day, and, you know, what is really required with regards to putting things in place, but I really do feel...
But let's get back to Starmer, Fahima. What's your predictions for the May elections?
I think the Greens are going to be surprisingly on top.
And why don't the Greens ever talk about anything green anymore?
Well, again, they do talk about green, but then they're now aligning with what is actually their other policies, but bringing that to the forefront.
And which policy is attracting you to the Greens?
I think when it comes to the justice, equality, and the fact that, you know, they are talking about affordability, okay, they're talking about taxes where we can actually see some sort of forwardness where maybe ordinary people are probably aligning with. I see that, you know, a lot of the times when it comes to either Reform, Conservatives and anyone else, they seem to be on the same line. Yeah. And we don't want that. We've had that for 14 years. We don't need any more of that.
The problem with the Greens and all left-wing parties is they don't understand that the wealth of our nation is bred through capitalism, because unless the 27 million people in the private sector in this country are able to run their businesses properly, to earn money, to pay taxes, the whole system would collapse. But what Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor's doing is she's taking the endeavours of the 27 million in the private sector and giving it to people who work in the public sector, and more so the 10 million people in this country who are economically inactive and could be for the rest of their lives.
The people that sit at home all day and not prepared to go and do a decent day's work.
Economically inactive is the way they're politely described.
No, we call them bone idle up in Ashfield.
I call them
I think that's quite unfair to label them in that way.
Well, they're bone idle, surely.
No, because there are so many factors why people are not working, and it is due to the government.
No, we talk about the able-bodied, Fahima, the people that can go to work, not the disabled, not the sick. No. The ones, there's a hardcore element in this country who refuse to get off the settee and go and do a decent day's work.
Because I guess the wages are not in line, you know, with regards to what's happening.
But Fahima, I'm sorry.
I don't agree with it, but I would prefer to work and I want to move forward. A lot of people, unfortunately, in this country, they don't. That's why we need people, unfortunately, from abroad, because they're actually willing to work. The people over here are not willing to work.
The welfare benefit system is a safety net, and it should be there for the people that Lee's talking about who need our help, from the able-bodied and those who can do it. The problem is now it's gained out by millions of people. You know, some 4 million people who will never work again in this country are just using that.
Guys, it's gone so quickly. We're going to have to come to the end of this very feisty debate. More of the same later in right versus left, but do not go away. Coming up next, we've got the CEO of the Business Travel Association, Clive Wotton.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's time for Real World, Real People with Clive Ratton. You're the CEO of the Business Travel Association.
That's right, I am.
Yeah. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is quite a lot, yeah.
So, what does that involve, actually?
Well, it's really representing the business travel sector, and really kind of promoting how important business travel or travel for work is for the UK economy and getting involved in everything from
So
aviation.
is this like national travel and international travel?
Yeah, it's both. Yeah, very much promoting British businesses getting abroad. That's what our members do.
Well, let's talk about airports then.
Yes.
Because that's a big bugbear of mine. When you go to the airport, when I take my sons or a friend or a family member to the airport, back in the day you could just drop them off outside the terminal. Now they're stealing from you, they're thieving off you. You have to go through a barrier and they're taking 2 or 3, maybe a £5 off you just to drop somebody off. What's all that about?
Yeah, well, it's up to a tenner if you're going to Gatwick now.
Tenner?
Yeah, a tenner at Gatwick. So it's the biggest frustration ever because, as you rightly say, up until 2020 it was free. And the important thing to remember about this is that through your air ticket you're paying a passenger service charge, which effectively includes the use of their facilities at the airport. So that's rocking up. But clearly, post-pandemic, the airlines were airports were suffering a little bit, and they found this way of charging, and it's gone up and up and up. It started off at £3 and now up to £10. Heathrow's £7, Bristol's £8.50. And they claim, depending on who you speak to on the day, that it's either to reduce congestion, it's about making people make sustainable choices, or the latest one at Gatwick is about...
How does it reduce congestion when the same amount of people are going to the airport?
Well, that's the argument I put up all the time, is if you look at Heathrow, the arrivals by private car has remained at 52% pretty consistently, even since it started. So it's clearly just a revenue make. They put, we reckon there's about £300 million being made out of parking charges across all UK airports per annum. You put £1 on at Heathrow, it's about another 30 million in their bank straight away, roughly. They don't give the figures, so it's very hard to really identify how much is being spent. But your point about congestion is really interesting because from a business travel point of view, you'll know that you kind of, most of your flights are going up 9 o'clock in the morning to go out early, so you've got to check in at 7.
Yeah.
You just can't get public transport from anywhere to get to that point. So, and you want to be dropped at the terminal. So, it's the only airports really in the world. There's very few others.
It's not just the drop-off charges. Everything about an airport is designed to rip you off, in my opinion. The prices... a pint of beer, you can have a traditional English breakfast for about 17 quid at some airports. Well, the same breakfast would probably be 5 or 6 quid in a greasy spoon where I'm from.
Yeah, well, it is a bit of a captive market, and it's the same as motorway service stations. But a lot of the airports going back over the years, we used to do a comparison with the nearest town. So a coffee in the local coffee shop in Slough versus one at Heathrow, and it used to be close. That's kind of faded away as well. So you can see the gap growing. You're quite right. Everything costs more. It's a captive market and truly expensive. And I think it's unfair on travellers, whether you're travelling for work or holiday.
And what can we do about it?
Well, from the BTA's point of view, we're kind of raising the campaign. We've put a charter out that we're working with to say cap it at £3 across all airports. Because, I mean, the important thing is we need great airports in the UK. We're an island nation, so we need great airports, and we do have great airports. So we kind of understand it's £3 and only have the charge between 9 and 5:30. So, that's the time where most people could possibly get public transport. Half price for EVs, because if they claim it's for sustainable reasons. They should do. There is one airport, Edinburgh, that do offer a discount.
Yeah, but the EV vehicles do more damage to the road than a normal vehicle.
Well, they're
heavier.
It's true. That's true. But I mean, in terms of making the right statements to people around that, and then equally, you know, the taxi and private hire trade are getting hit by this massively, and saying you only get charged once a day like you do with the congestion.
Right, let's talk about travel tips, top travel tips. You know, me and my friend went away last year and he was convinced, because the airplane was only half full. We were going to see a friend in Florida. He says, we'll get upgraded, we'll get into business class, we'll get the beds. And we didn't, and it was empty. Yeah. It was more or less empty. How do you get these free, so-called free upgrades we keep hearing about?
It's a bit of a urban myth that they happen too often. I haven't been in the airline industry for a number of times. It's really down to commercial reasons you get it. If there's an overbooking and you've got the right colour status is much of what it's about. You'll get moved up, but generally these days it doesn't happen too often. But what has kind of transpired in recent years is airlines are offering discounts to upgrade at the last minute. So, you know, paying a nominal amount.
So what do they tell you about this when you
if you ask at check-in, you can say, is there any deals to upgrade? And sometimes you'll get an email through just a couple of days before you go to bid for a place and say, I'll offer £100, and sometimes they accept it, sometimes they don't. So there are ways of doing it, but the way of just getting on board and somebody saying to you, go on, Lee, just pop out the front, it doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't, does it? And then, of course, we've got the cheaper budget airlines, and I think you do pay, although you pay, it's much cheaper to travel with somebody. Sometimes the experience is not quite as great. I had one last year going to Spain on a Wizz Air flight. I mean, the flight was fine and the staff were great, but the actual experience of getting off the plane the other end, and it was awful.
Yeah, it's a change market. I'd say I'm a bit old school. I love flying, and I love the romance of flying. And I started many years ago and loved the whole experience, still do. But the low-cost carriers have taken away some of that. It is just like getting on a public transport on a bus. But it works well. It's opened up the world to thousands of people that might not be able to travel, but you get what you pay for, and
that's true.
That's the way it works, I guess.
So I mean, the first time I flew a long time ago, but I remember back in the day getting on the aeroplane, and you could smoke on the aeroplane. Can you remember when they had the curtains? You used to be able to draw the curtains at the back, and that was the smoking area. How things have changed.
I know, but the bit that you smoke, because I used to smoke as well and get on a plane, and there was one row, but the bit that always used to make me laugh, not was it smoking, you used to use Swan Vestas and light the air flames to light your cigarette up. And you think, how was that even allowed to happen? But it did. Times have changed a little bit around that now.
Yeah, and the aeroplanes I've noticed over the past probably 10 years, they're a lot quieter now. When you get them, you can't hear the engines. It's great. No,
the evolution of the jet engine has been very quick considering what it is, and I've just actually got back from being away over the first week of that and coming back on one of the new 787s, and you hardly know the engine's moving and taking off, and it's just fabulous and really changed, and of course much better from a emissions point of view as well, but still some way to go.
So obviously you've been from a lot of airports in the UK.
Yeah.
Which is your favourite? Which one would you go to? Which is your go-to airport?
Go-to airport. I'd say, despite my frustrations with Heathrow, I still like Heathrow. I think Gatwick do a really good job from that, but equally some of the smaller airports. I started my career working for BA at Birmingham Airport, so I've always got a soft spot for Birmingham Airport.
I don't like Birmingham. No. See, my nearest airport is East Midlands Airport, and then Birmingham, and the old Robin Hood Airport at Doncaster. But Birmingham, I always seem to have a bad experience there, whether it's roadworks, whether it's they're doing modernising the building. I just don't like it. I tend to go from airport.
I know what you mean, but as I say, it's got a bit of a place in my heart, so I spent my career there. So,
and us greedy, selfish MPs that work in Westminster, when we go abroad, I mean, I don't go abroad anymore with work because they kick me off the select committees. But the people who are on select committees and other committees get the chance to travel. Or if you're a trade envoy, for example, you get the chance to travel all around the world. I went to some great places, I'm not going to lie. Singapore and Uruguay and the US and places like that. But if you do a night flight, they upgrade you to business class. Is it worth it?
Do you know what? It absolutely is if you can afford it. On a flight that is, you can get some sleep. I mean, some people can't. I've travelled so much over the years. I've got a routine that I do when I get on board on a night flight, and I will.
Do you always go business class?
No, not always go business class. Who I work for now is economy most of the time. I choose to do it myself. But it is. a real difference when I used to work in the Middle East, and you fly back at 2 o'clock in the morning, you get on and in business class, and you can sleep, and you get up and go in and do a day's work. And I think that's the big difference. Everything else is nice to have.
Well, I've done both. I mean, transatlantic, I've done business class and just premium economy.
Yeah.
And I mean, business class is nice because you get the fold down bed.
It is.
But you know what? Last time I went, I did a premium economy. I had a few shots of single malt, sleeping tablet, out like a kite, and woke up on the runway coming back. So
that's my strategy as well. I just came back from Barbados this week on premium economy, the same thing, nice scotch and top of cruise and head down.
There you go, mate. That's great. Some
Fantastic.
great travel tips there from Clive Ratton. Coming up next, we've got a feisty debate with Mike Perry and Fahima Mohammed. Do not go away. Heathrow and Gatwick airports have defended their passenger drop-off charges following public criticism, saying the fees are intended to manage congestion, encourage the use of public transport and support sustainability goals.
Hello, very good evening to you. This is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Could be quite a murky night ahead as the winds ease, the clouds going to lower, leading to some mist and fog in places as well. That's because the low pressure just to the west of us, that's filling, becoming less intense, so the blustery winds that we've had through today, well, they're going to be dropping out. There will still be some outbreaks of rain around, particularly around some eastern parts of Northern Ireland, and then feeding northwards up through parts of England and Wales, and later pushing into areas of southern Scotland as well. But many areas actually staying largely dry. A lot of cloud though, and as I mentioned, that cloud could be lowering, leading to some mist and fog and some murkiness, and even where we don't get that lowering cloud, clear spells could allow for a touch of frost and also some patches of fog to develop in other spots as well. So a bit of a grey, murky start across central and eastern parts of southern UK, a bit brighter perhaps across parts of Wales and the southwest of England. Lots of cloud, few outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland and northern England, and similar across southern and eastern parts of Scotland. It's across northern Scotland where we're likely to have the clearest skies overnight and the brightest skies to start, but as a result, the greatest chance of some frost and some fog, maybe even freezing fog patches here as well. Through the day, there will be further outbreaks of rain around, perhaps a bit heavy at times in a few spots, all of that making its way northwards. Could see some sleet and snow over the high ground of Scotland, but that's going to become less of a thing as we go through the day. And then otherwise, well, some dry weather, even some bright sunny skies here and there, but worth noting if you're stuck under the cloud, which could linger all day, it's going to feel pretty cold indeed. Through into Sunday, and there's a chance of a swathe of wet weather pushing its way northwards across much of England, Wales and later into eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, it could be quite a grey, cloudy, murky start yet again, with a lot of fog in places too. Into next week, and there's more changeable weather to come. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's time for Right versus Left. We've got Fahima back and Mike Porky Perry. Just had to separate them in the break. There's getting a little bit feisty there. Mike's still got his injured knee. I think you're sort of preying on that, aren't you, Fahima? It's he went for his weak spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the debate today is, should the marriage of first cousins be banned, Mike?
Well, I think it should personally. I mean, the figures are that the possibility of a genetic problem with your child is between 2 and 3% in what I'd call the population as a whole. But it goes up to 4 to 6% if you have a first cousin marriage.
So it doubles?
Doubles, in fact, yeah. Now, my view is people say, well, that's still a small figure. No, if it's only a 1% chance of an increased possibility of some genetic problem, basically because when you go up the family pyramid like that, it means they've both got the same grandparents, then it shouldn't be allowed because it's a risk that doesn't need to be taken.
Fahima?
You know, if we're talking about risks, right, and we want to ban something, then we should really be consistent. And we're talking about children's health. Now, there are more statistics to show that, you know, mothers that are drinking alcohol and they have FASD, which is a neurodiversity condition.
I know what it is.
As well as, just for the public, and also for
That's a
people...
different problem altogether.
But it's the same thing.
No, but we're talking about a specific problem that could be sorted and changed. We're not going to say,
That
oh,
is
well,
exactly
it happened.
the same thing by your logic.
No, it's not, because
Yes, it
you're
is.
going on to another problem and we're discussing
But why
marriage
would you,
between cousins.
I'm talking about children's health.
What
If
you're
you're
doing,
going to-
Fahima, you're using a bit of whataboutery, aren't
Not
you?
really. I'm saying that you guys are not consistent when it comes to certain things, and even the Church of England has not banned first cousin marriages, okay? So in this country, we do not have a Christian state. We do not have anything when it comes to Christian laws, where it's actually even in our parliament. And when it comes to certain communities, I feel that they are targeted, even though they are not the priority on the NHS. The priority are people that are maybe at elderly age, and we need more awareness and education for
Well, you've
people
not really answered
to
the question,
understand
have
that.
you, Fahima?
No, you
Well,
haven't.
if you're,
Dodged
gonna
the
have,
question.
if you're going to have a ban, have it collectively for all of the kind of issues. That's why I raised that.
But we are focusing on this one issue. And
But why would you want to focus on one when there's
Because
children's
it's
health?
very important, because it means that people who are involved in that relationship have a greater chance of something happening to them. So it's no good saying, oh, well, it happens there, it happens there. Look at this one. And by the way, citing the Church of England as, you know, even the Church of England, I'm telling you, the Church of England get an awful lot of things wrong. I wouldn't use them as a marker for things that are right under any circumstances, even though I'm a Christian.
But the thing is, you still not understanding your logic. If you are worrying about public health for children, then it should be on all kind of, you know, things, not just
I totally
cousin
agree.
marriage.
But we're looking at this.
This debate...
But why is it always picking on a... Because you know it relates to a specific community.
Who? Which community?
The Pakistani community. I'm not from that community. I would never in my family even, you know, endorse this kind of cousin marriage. But I want things to
So why are
be
you defending it then?
fair and consistent. And if you want to ban it, like I said, have a ban throughout
Should it be banned,
the
Fahima?
spectrum. I don't think it should be banned because I feel that if you are given education and it's a public health issue, and if there were genetic testing beforehand, because not all cousin marriages actually end up in that way. It depends on your, you know, your DNA. It depends on how closely related you are.
Why take the
Even
risk?
so- of course. Well, why take the risk when you're even pregnant and drinking or smoking, or even at an elderly age? It's the same thing. It's
not the
awareness.
same thing.
It's
It's
education.
not the same thing,
it's
because this is
education.
avoidable. This is completely
So
avoidable.
is the rest.
If you do not marry your cousin, then you are not putting yourselves in a position where
But
something
not
could happen
all
to your
people
child
that marry
at a
their
greater
cousins.
risk than other
Not
circumstances.
all people that marry their cousins have that. We've had, you know, even the monarchy that's had that. There's nothing that's been wrong. It's just, you know, something I think that needs to have education and more of a public health interest than banning.
I guess if you went into any pubs and clubs up and down the country, Mike, and spoke to some real people in the real world, they would say this is inbreeding. They would?
Yes, I suppose they would, and that's not a term we use these days. But to be honest, it doesn't matter what you call it. If you look at scientifically what the result of it is, that's what we should be worrying about. And also, by the way, we've all got cousins. I can't imagine for a moment having been brought up and played with my cousins on the beach, you know,
Neither can I.
at Rill and all that, suddenly being told, by the way, we've had a very good idea, you should marry your female cousin. I mean,
But
that's
to be
something that I
honest,
could never accept.
no one's saying
Never
that
accept.
it happens as in they're being told. You can't tell who, you know, the government doesn't say who needs to get married and who they should or shouldn't marry
No, but
either.
even the option to me would be unthinkable.
But then, like you said, you don't really, conform to even the Church of England all of the time. So it's not about your opinion. I'm trying to be consistent. I'm trying to be fair and be just. And if you want to ban something, when in regards to children's health, then it should be widely associated with all the health issues that are there. Not just picking on one, because again, it does demonize and discriminate one particular
We
group.
have fantastic health.
That's how it is.
We have fantastic.
And that is not the priority on the
fantastic
NHS.
health
That is
protection.
not.
for children
priority.
in this country. Fantastic. You know, one of the leading countries in the world to look after childcare. But this is an additional part of childcare, which is unnecessary. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's diminishing even in that community, as far as I could see. A lot of the new generations are not actually doing that, even by choice. So, again, like I said, if it's not a priority in the NHS, it's not on top of the list, which other things are, I mean, as a waiting list, because that's not really happening. Why is that going to be in Member of Parliament? Just like banning, you know, the burqa and things like that. You know, at the end of the day, I feel it really is picking on one particular community.
Should we ban the burqa?
I don't think so, no.
Right?
Yes, of course we should.
It's already
it's oppressive
allowed.
to women. It's
no,
oppressive
that's
to
your
women.
opinion. A lot of people I know have actually chosen to wear it.
Yeah.
They are reverts and they're converts in this country. I personally wouldn't wear it, but I do feel that people have a choice in this country. Saying that you should or shouldn't is not given
It's
a
a
choice.
subjugation of women's rights. And
No, it's not.
No, and you say to some it's choice, but when you see a woman in a burqa, you have no idea whether it's her choice or whether she's been
But you
told
seem
to do
to
it
know, because you
by her
think it's
husband.
oppression.
No,
You're
I
just
don't.
assuming.
Oh,
You're
no,
just assuming the
You
worst.
must agree with me. Not every woman who wears a burqa does it through choice.
Is that true?
I do think whether it's the hijab or even, I'm the first to call out my own community, that's one thing for sure. And I have actually brought this up. But I do see that there is a choice that to be made, and we're not living in a country that tells women what to dress,
Yeah, that's
what
fair
to wear.
point. Fair point.
Where it
But
comes to the courts,
are some women forced to wear the burqa?
some women are.
Well,
some
well, it's
women
oppressive.
are. It is oppressive, but
there's
there's a lot of people that experience domestic violence. We don't talk about that. We talk
but
about
if you
so
banned
many
the
different
burqa,
things.
you would liberate some women, wouldn't you?
Right,
Ban
guys.
the burqa, liberate women.
We'll calm down a little bit, Mike.
Okay. I don't need calming down.
Well, maybe if Fahima does, because it's time for the yes or no quiz. Put the gaffers on. And I'm not sure how you did last time with this, Mike.
Oh, very well, probably.
Very well. We're probably like the world champion or something like that.
Probably, I would think.
Yes. So the first question is, Fahima, should first cousin marriage be banned?
No.
Mike?
Yes.
Will Starmer last the year as PM?
This year?
It's a yes or no quiz, mate.
No.
You cannot waffle.
No.
I can't give you that.
I'm sorry, but...
I can't, it's yes or no.
No, I was only thinking aloud, that's all.
Well, you're doing a Stephen
Thinking-
Pound. You just can't work to rules. So, sorry, Fahima?
Yes.
She did that. Crisp answer.
Yes.
So, Fahima, should small business rates be scrapped?
No.
Mike?
Yes.
And Mike, is Donald Trump right to want Greenland?
Yes.
No.
It's aggressive, no, that was. Fahima, final question, number 5. Does two-tier policing exist in the UK?
No.
Aggressive, no, that was Mike.
Very much yes.
Honestly, this is like Stephen Pound. It's like a pound shop version of Stephen Pound, actually. He's just gone off the rails.
Yes.
It is yes.
Yes.
But it's a yes or no quiz. You've got 3, Mike. It's a shameful.
So much for the champion. I've taken over.
Yeah.
And Fahima, annoyingly, with her aggressive answers, has got 5 out of 5. Do you want to come back one? But talk about Donald Trump and Greenland.
Donald Trump in Greenland, the way that's going to work, of course, is that they're going to send US military bases into Greenland because there are a load there were closed down after the Second World War. Just reopen them and do that.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely vital the Americans get there before the Russians and the Chinese. And we defend the West from the influence of the East stealing all our riches.
See, what the Chinese do, and they do it all over the world, Fahima, you probably know this, they go into these countries nice and friendly, start building them airports and roads and infrastructure.
And docks, so their ships can
and then
dock
win
in.
hope to the Chinese. So is Donald Trump right?
No, I don't think he's right. He's actually going against, you know, the US Charter. He goes against that even when he went into Venezuela. And I don't think that he's, you know, abiding by international law. He seems to just be, you know, rogue right now with whatever he's doing. And even people that normally support him are not on his side about Greenland right now. So I think he really is pushing his luck, and he knows it's probably his final stages, so he's just going to do whatever he needs to do. But I do feel that it's really unfair for him to be carrying on like this and not get away with it. And there's no scrutiny and there's no consequences. We talk about China and everyone else. If they were to do it, if Russia were to do it, they would be considered something completely different, but we're not going to be naming them.
Yes, Keir Starmer can just give away the Chagos Islands.
Chagos Island, absolutely. If I was a Greenlander living in Greenland, I'd much rather be the 51st state of the United States of America than be a captive state of Russia
I
or
think
China.
you probably believe that now with the UK.
In fact,
It's
can I
pretty
tell you?
pathetic.
Can I tell you, under Keir Starmer, the United Kingdom, I'd rather be the 51st state of the United States.
No, I don't think so. You
Let me
don't
tell you
realise,
that.
you don't know even, you're not watching what's happening in the US. And
Yes, I am,
the
like you, I
riots
do.
are like, you know, against Trump right now, especially with ICE and especially
Right.
with the economics that's happening, when we're so much better off. You know, he's even
How
stopping...
are we better off?
No, he's
Right,
even
guys,
stopping free speech.
we've got to call it to a close now. Fahima, begrudgingly, well done. Mike, you must do better next time. But anyway, do not go away, because coming up next, we've got internet influencer Based and Bougie.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The weather's looking unsettled across much of southern Europe as we go through this weekend. Heavy rain affecting parts of Portugal, around the outskirts of Spain as well. Some significant snow building up over the Pyrenees. Even further east in other parts of the Mediterranean, hefty showery downpours with the risk of some thunder. And worth bearing in mind, strong gusty winds are going to lead to some rough seas as well. Staying pretty unsettled for some places as we go into next week. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Well, that sounds a little bit like Last Orders, and I've got based and bougie. Did I say that right?
You said that. You're the first person to pronounce it
and
right.
You're the first person I've ever met that's been called based and bougie. It's a beautiful name. What does it mean?
Thank you so much. So base basically just means to be strong-minded and to not really allow people to swift your opinion. Bougie just kind of just means girly. Yeah, anyone who knows me knows I'm
so strong girly.
Yeah, strong girly.
Now, you are a YouTuber, political influencer, got a big following on Instagram, and you like to go out there, you know, in the field, should we say, and challenge people's thoughts and beliefs. And I was watching one clip where you would challenge this lady somewhere, I don't know where it was, and she was like pro-migrant, you know, bring them all into the country, illegal migrants and whatever, and you then challenged her to say, will you take some of these migrants into your own home?
Yeah.
And then she came up with a whole raft of excuses. Do you get this a lot?
This is the thing with the left, is that they're very generous with other people's money, but they're not generous with their own. You will go to them and you ask them, what's your views on mass migration? They would say it's fantastic, this country needs migrants, this country was built on migration. I do believe migrants have contributed to the country, but they definitely haven't built it, because that would say, you know, migrants built the Titanic or the Church of England. That's absurd. But when you finally ask them the real questions, which is, would you house these migrants? They come up with all these excuses. I don't have money, I don't have a couch, I'm sleeping on the floor. And it's just like, so why are you supporting the one thing that you yourself know you wouldn't do?
But when you're out and about on your mission to solve the world's problems and shine a light on the hypocrisy, you come across, you told me before, Base, that you come across a bit of racism as well.
Yes, so there was a Christmas rally that took place, and there was Stand Up to Racism. They were having a counter rally, and obviously me being the curious cat, I just thought to myself, what on earth could be far right about Christmas? So upon me actually going to these people and asking them, what are you protesting about? Not even 2 minutes in, one person called me the N-word. So I find it so ironic that they're standing up to racism, but the minute you just ask them a question, which is, what is far right about Christmas, they call you the N-word. And these are the people standing up to racism, by the way.
It's unbelievable. And I've had these people up in Ashfield, and what I noticed about them, Base, was that they had this stand up to racism placards, but every single one was white.
Yeah. And you know what? I actually asked the women, like, if you're here standing up to racism, why don't you see any ethnic minorities here? Like, why are you here protesting for my rights? And she goes, it's because I have white privilege. So you trying to tell me I'm incompetent and I can't speak for myself?
So you can't stick up for yourself? Is that what they're saying?
She's saying I can't speak up for. She was basically calling me incompetent. So I had to really school her and tell her, listen, if I have a problem with this country, I'm going to go out and I'm going to protest it. But you guys are just virtue signaling and protesting for other people who never asked for it. It's the same thing that we're seeing with Venezuela, for instance. Like, Trump has freed Venezuela, and yet you have the left protesting for the Venezuelans whilst the Venezuelans are celebrating. So it's just like, is this high level of white supremacy thinking that they can speak for other people when no one asked them?
I totally agree with you, and I think we live in a pretty tolerant country. But what the left do, and these groups like Stand Up to Racism do, what they do is they look for a minority group who are just probably, you know, getting on with their lives, quite happy with living in this country. They then target them and tell them they're a minority and they must be victims, and they must be, and you must be victimised, and we're gonna campaign and protest for you. And these people thinking, what the hell's going on here?
And these people have no clue what actual third world countries look like. For example, where I'm from in Congo, women don't have as much rights as women here in the UK. Even places like, for example, Afghanistan or even Iran, women don't have the same rights as we do. So it's like, what can I do that a man can't do in 2025? Or what is it that a black person like myself can't do that another white person
You make a good point there, Base, because you talk about places like Afghanistan, these protesters, these whatever they are, will quite happily say that you're a victim because you've got a different skin colour, but say absolutely nothing when young men from places like Afghanistan who treat women like not even second-class citizens, they come in and they do all sorts of nasty stuff. They never call that out.
Exactly, and it's the same thing that's happening in Iran right now. Right now, we're seeing, you know, Iranians protesting for their rights and they're being killed simply because they want freedom. But yet you see the left; they are absolutely mute, absolutely mute. It's unbelievable, the hypocrisy of these people.
It's staggering.
Honestly,
it's absolutely.
But I love to expose it. That's like my thing.
Do you ever get
exposing it.
like frightened when you're out there with your selfie stick and your camera?
Sometimes I do, but it's like for me, I'm just driven by telling the truth. So it's like in the moment, it's like I don't care. I just need to tell the truth. And even if something does happen to me, at least it proves my point.
Oh, you're very brave.
So, thank you
You're
very much.
brave indeed. Let's see if you're brave enough to pull a pint.
Oh
It's
my
time
gosh.
for.
This is actually my first time.
Don't
seeing
make
behind the
excuses,
bar.
mate. Don't make excuses. You sound like one of your victims on your channel. So there's a pint pot.
Yes.
We've got the Alpacalypse, which is a Bradford like a pale ale. If you put, there you go. Let me give you a tip. Just put the glass up to the pump there like that, and pull the pump back. That's it.
Oh, nice.
That's it. Great guns. And when it's full to the top, just put it on the bar. That's yes. You can put it on the bar now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're the type of lady that likes. If you put it over there.
Oh, sorry.
That likes honesty, don't you?
Like, sorry?
Honesty.
Honesty, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
yes.
but that's rubbish. That's not very good at all. One of the worst we've had on the show. But let's imagine a question that I do ask some of my guests, that you're having a dinner party tonight, and you're putting a few drinks on and a few nibbles and then a nice dinner, and you had to have 3 political heroes, past or present, to sit at your dinner table to have a nice chinwag and talk about politics. Who would they be?
It would definitely be Trump.
Donald Trump.
I love Trump. We share the same birthday. Yeah, I love him. The thing I love about him is what you see is what you get. Like, he doesn't pretend or sugarcoat, and I'm like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely love Charlie Kirk. Absolutely love Charlie Kirk. And the last one would have to be Jesus Christ. Absolutely love Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He has saved me, and if I can get 3 of them in a dinner table, that would be epic.
Well, that'd be great. What would you say to them?
I would ask Jesus Christ to just give me a first-class ticket to heaven. In terms of Charlie Kirk, I would say thank you for everything that he's done. What he's done to pretty much save the youth back into conservative Christian values is something that's never been done. And I would just have a good chat and a good laugh with Donald Trump. He seems like a funny old man that I would love to
funny
have.
old man?
Yeah, a funny old man. He seems very humorous.
So you've obviously got the faith.
Yes.
Obviously believe in Jesus. I think, in this country we do live, which is a Christian country, not that we're all believers. I try and have the faith. I'm struggling with that. I want to believe, because we all want to believe there's a better place when we leave this place, don't we? But sometimes in this country we feel a little bit ashamed of our history, our heritage, our culture. We don't like to talk about it. I hate that.
I hate that for the English people, because I think that the English people have one of the best histories as well. And I think a big misconception that people have is that, for instance, the empire was just built out just like that, or just overnight. No, a lot of hardships, a lot of struggles, a lot of fights.
And we didn't have it that easy in this country 300 or 400 years ago.
So it's like, but then people try to justify the success of the empire or the success of the
We've done bad things,
culture.
done good things, and then you've got some politicians and some on the left again talking about reparations for maybe countries that where your family's from, and other places around the world. And I say no. We all had it bad. We did good things and bad things in the past.
I think the topic of reparations is absolutely silly, because it's like, why should someone who never owned a slave be responsible for paying money to someone who never was a slave? Second of all, if we're going to sit here and say that Africans or black people deserve reparations, that means the Jews deserve reparations, that means the Slavs deserve reparations, that means so many other communities deserve reparations, because slavery, unfortunately, is just a part of human history.
And should we get reparations from the Vikings? The Nordic states like 1,000 years ago. It's ridiculous.
But on the topic of reparations, I've actually started a petition basically demanding 10,000 in reparations from Stand Up to Racism due to the racial abuse that I had to experience.
They've got a lot to answer for, aren't they? It keeps cropping up, this organisation.
And let's see if they do it.
But I'm looking at that pint. The froth's gone off it, based. It's not a good one, is it? Would you? Are you a drinker?
I'm not a drinker at
No,
all, I'm so sorry.
I think if you served that in a pub, you'd probably get sacked. Anyway, it's lovely to meet you.
So nice.
And you do
meeting
some
you
great
too.
work. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. So lovely meeting
That's
you.
based and boozy. I said that right?
Yes, you said
and
it
that's on the
perfectly.
pull, and I'm going to give that 5 out of 10.
We have contacted Stand Up to Racism and are awaiting a response. Stand Up to Racism challenges and opposes racism in all its forms. They work to educate, campaign and bring people together to promote equality, justice and solidarity. The organisation exists because racism continues to harm individuals and communities, and collective action is needed to confront discrimination and build a fairer society for everyone.
Thanks for joining me on Lee Anderson's Real World. Been another great show with some great guests. See you all next week. But coming up next, we've got Friday Night with Matt Goodwin.
Thank you very much, Lee. Yes, I'm standing in for Matt Goodwin this evening, but the man himself is going to join us live from Paris to talk about the decline of the West. It's going to be a very interesting show tonight indeed. We'll also be digging into the disgraced West Midlands chief who's resigned, retired, should I say. What do you make of that? Should he have been held accountable for his actions before he got that nice retirement? We'll also be digging into whether or not the Tories broke Britain following Jenrick's comments. All of that coming up very shortly.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, very good evening to you. This is your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Could be quite a murky night ahead as the winds ease, the clouds going to lower, leading to some mist and fog in places as well. That's because the low pressure just to the west of us, that's filling, becoming less intense. So the blustery winds that we've had through today, well, they're going to be dropping out. There will still be some outbreaks of rain around, particularly around some eastern parts of Northern Ireland, and then feeding northwards up through parts of England and Wales and later pushing into